Hello, now we're going to talk about Article 40, which is the purchase of 432 Whitney Street, which is 23.77 acres of land. Here with me to discuss the details is Laurie Connors, Town Planner. She's going to cover a presentation, abbreviated presentation on what she used in various boards and committees throughout the town to talk about this land purchase.
Thank you, Tim. So on your screen, you'll see a couple of images of the property. These were some views that were taken from the Whitney Street frontage. So a little bit of information. You can see an orthophoto on your screen, which shows the general context of the property in relation to the abutting land uses. So the parcel size is 23.77 acres of undeveloped land. It's currently zoned for industrial district and is also located within Groundwater Protection Overlay District 3. Not the entire parcel, but a portion of the property is within that designation. The property is served by public water, however, not public sewer. Sewer is available approximately 1,000 feet from the property site. There are some environmental limitations to the property. There is a wetland system as well as a stream and some steep slopes. It is currently enrolled in the Chapter 61A program. It's been enrolled in the program since FY15, and the reason for that designation is for agricultural and horticultural purposes. So here are another couple of maps of the property. The most notable thing that I wanted to point out to you folks is this property's proximity to the aqueduct, which is the green linear stripe in the center portion of the screen. And it is located to the north of land that is owned by the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation. That land abuts conservation land within the town of Berlin. So one of the significant advantages of purchasing this property is the open space link between the aqueduct and that conservation land. So as Tim alluded to, because this land was enrolled in the Chapter 61 program, the town was notified by the property owner of his intent to sell the land. We received that notification on December 5th, 2023, and that set in motion a 120-day period of time within which the town must act. So we were notified that the Howland Development Corporation was interested in purchasing the property for $1.7 million. They wanted to construct a industrial building of 40,000 to 60,000 square feet. And they were interested in making use of the freight rail line, which runs alongside the property. They're hoping to develop a spur off of that rail line.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 minute because I know we asked the assessor to do some analysis of a building that size on that property. So 40,000 square foot building, values, what people put down on a building permit can change, but we try to establish the best fair value. So we asked the assessor to look at the building value, the land purchase, total assessed value, and then match that against our tax rate. And people have talked about the loss of commercial industrial land in terms of value and taxes. So if this doesn't get developed, there's a potential loss of revenue or not gained revenue of about $85,000. So I just want to make it clear that while it's not being developed, all the boards and committees that have seen this think there's a higher and better use for it versus an industrial development of 40,000 square feet. So yeah, we would forego that growth, but at what expense, and not connecting to the trail network and so forth. So I just want to make it clear that the number is 85,000 and not realized potential revenue for a 40,000 square foot building. But again, with all of this stuff, we should just mention that if people have questions as we go through these, we want people to call us. You can call Laura, you can call my office, email or call, and we want to get back to people. The overall goal of these sessions is to provide information so people can make an informed decision at town meeting. So we want you to gather information ahead of time. Walking into town meeting is never easy with 66 articles, and so we don't want you to come in and just have to make a decision. If we can provide information ahead of that, and you can ask those questions, of course, at town meeting, but if you want to get information ahead of time, please call us. We encourage that. That's one of the main reasons why we're doing this. I didn't mean to go off on you on that, but
No.
I just wanted to cover that in a little bit of detail.
No, I think that's a really important point for people to understand. So as you had mentioned, the town has a certain period of time within which to act, and Tim was able to negotiate an extension on the 120-day time frame. So now we have until May 20th, 2024 to make the decision whether the town wants to acquire the property or not. So there are a couple of options under Chapter 61A. Either the town can match the purchase price of that $1.7 million, or the town can assign that right to another conservation agency. But in this case, the town is interested in pursuing this acquisition. So there are a number of benefits. Of course, the negative is the loss in economic development potential for the property. But there are a number of folks in town who feel that that is offset by the important gains of acquisition. So I had already mentioned the fact that there could be this great open space link between the aqueduct and the conservation land to the south. We would also be protecting important wildlife habitat and a wetland system that is hydrologically connected to Barefoot Brook. There are some beautiful views at the summit of the property where we could install picnic tables and a nice trail system to enjoy those views. We would be providing a buffer between industrial uses that currently exist to the east, as well as the single-family homes to the west. Oftentimes, industrial and residential uses conflict with each other. They cause nuisances to each other, so it's beneficial to have a buffer in between those uses. I mentioned we could develop passive recreation facilities. This property does abut the aqueduct on the other side of the railroad tracks, so we could develop a parking lot where people could park and then walk along the aqueduct or the trails on this property. And there is the potential to do a small affordable housing development, and I mean small. So we were thinking about maybe 2 buildings of 4 to 8 units that could be developed on the property. And of course, this purchase would be consistent with the goals as articulated in the current master plan and the open space and recreation plan. So, of course, we are proposing to acquire this property with town resources. $664,000 would come from the Conservation Fund, which is controlled by the Conservation Commission. And then we are seeking funds from the Community Preservation Act. So approximately $218,000 would come from new revenue, and approximately $818,000 would come from the unreserved funds. Now, we did reach out to the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation, and they are very intrigued with this parcel and the acquisition because it does directly abut property that they own. So they have informed us that they are willing to pony up $200,000 towards the acquisition, and they would be willing to hold the conservation restriction free of charge. However, they did put the caveat on there that it would be subject to funding. So we didn't really feel comfortable counting on that money 100% because there is the chance that we might not get it. So I just wanted to make that clear. And as Tim had mentioned, this acquisition is supported by a number of entities in town. They have submitted either letters of support or they expressed support for the acquisition at the Community Preservation Committee's public hearing. So these groups are the Planning Board, the Conservation Commission, the Open Space Committee, and the Northborough Affordable Housing Corporation.
Thank you. I think that's a good start for this article. I talked to people at the state about the 200,000. We think we will get it, but it'll be, well after probably we sign the purchase and sale sometime in June or May. So we're just going to hold off, and we'll make the CPC whole again for that 200,000 once we acquire it and get those funds from the state. But again, if people have questions and you want to call us, you can certainly do that to get more information. So thank you for that.